Have you ever sat in silence and wondered why? Despite everything you have, you still feel so fragile, not broken, just tired, mentally foggy, weighed down by something you can't quite name. You wake up and scroll. You stay busy. You work. You respond. You laugh when you're supposed to. And yet, underneath it all, you feel like you're losing some invisible battle. Let me tell you something most people don't want to admit. It's not because you're weak. It's not because you're broken. It's because you were never trained to be strong inside. We live in a world that teaches comfort, not courage. It teaches avoidance, not endurance. And when life finally tests us emotionally, mentally, spiritually, we fold. Not because we lack talent, but because we lack fortitude. But there's a way out. Not an easy one. Not the one that gives you dopamine in 5 seconds, but a timeless, brutal, liberating path that men and women have walked for centuries. The ancient Stoics didn't promise peace. They promised strength. Not the kind you show off, but the kind you fall back on when everything else is falling apart. In this video, we're going to walk through 10 brutal Stoic rules that won't just motivate you for today. They'll rewire how you think, how you act, and how you endure. So if you're tired of being at the mercy of your moods, your past, and your comfort, then this is for you. Stay with me, because one of these rules could be the wake-up call your soul's been needing. 1 Pascal in is not the enemy. It's the teacher you keep avoiding. Let's be honest, most of us don't fear failure. We fear pain. The discomfort of starting over, the awkward silence after speaking your truth, the sting of rejection when you put yourself out there and it doesn't land. So what do? We scroll. We delay. We wait for the right time. And somewhere in that soft avoidance, our edge begins to dull. You might tell yourself you're being gentle with yourself, but if you're always seeking comfort, you're not being kind, you're being careless. Marcus Aurelius said, "The obstacle is the way." He didn't write that from a mountaintop villa with a wine glass in hand. He wrote it while leading Rome through plagues, betrayal, and war. His peace wasn't inherited. It was forged in pain. Here's the hard truth. Most people don't say out loud, avoidance is addictive. The more you run from discomfort, the more power it has over you. But what if you did the opposite? What if you walked toward the thing that made you sweat, tremble, or shrink? Not recklessly, but deliberately. You'd find that pain is not punishment. It's practice, cold showers, hard conversations, sitting with boredom without reaching for distraction. They seem small, but they build something big. Will. You stop flinching. You stop folding. And over time, you stop fearing. Because pain doesn't break you. It reveals you. Discomfort is my training ground, not a threat, not a punishment, but the sacred arena where I remember who I really am. 2. The emotion isn't the problem, your reaction is. Let me ask you something. Has a single text message ever ruined your whole day? Maybe someone said something careless, or maybe they said nothing at all, and suddenly your chest tightens, your thoughts spiral, and your peace, the one you fought so hard for, is gone. Just like that. You're not alone. We live in a world where emotional reactivity is normalized. Someone cuts us off in traffic. We explode. Someone ignores our message. We collapse into insecurity. And somewhere along the way, we forgot how to own our emotions, so they started owning us. Epictetus once said, "Any person capable of angering you becomes your master. Let that sink in. If your mood can be hijacked by one opinion, one comment, one headline, who's really in control of your life? Here's what the Stoics knew. Emotion is not your enemy. It's your signal. But a signal is not a command. It's an invitation to pause, to investigate, to choose a wiser way. See, real strength isn't found in suppression. It's found in mastery. It's in the moment you feel the anger rise, and you breathe instead of lash out. It's when sadness visits, and you let it sit beside you, but you don't let it drive your decisions. That pause, that breath is everything. It's the difference between being a puppet and being the one who pulls the strings. Daily affirmation. I feel deeply, but I choose wisely. I am not the storm. I am the calm inside it. 3. Life isn't fair, and that's your greatest advantage. Let's be real. You've done everything right. You showed up. You loved with your whole heart. You worked harder than most people ever saw. And somehow, you still got passed over. You still got hurt. You still got left behind. And deep down, something inside you screams, this isn't fair. And you're right. It's not. But here's the brutal truth. The Stoics lived by life was never meant to be fair. It was meant to be real, and reality doesn't bend for good intentions. Marcus Aurelius, the Emperor of Rome, saw injustice every day. He ruled a world filled with betrayal, power games, and suffering. Yet he wrote, "You can commit injustice by doing nothing." He didn't waste time complaining about what was fair. He focused on what was right, because fairness is fragile, but strength is sovereign. When you expect life to reward you for effort, you'll constantly feel defeated. But when you accept that life owes you nothing, you stop waiting and start rising. The rain doesn't skip your house just because you've been kind. The storm doesn't pass over you because you prayed harder. But that's okay, because you weren't built to be protected. You were built to withstand. So when injustice comes, and it will, don't shrink. Stand taller. When betrayal shows up, let it sharpen your clarity, not your bitterness. The Stoic doesn't expect life to be fair. They prepare for it to be unfair and still act with honor. I don't expect fairness. I train for reality, and in doing so, I become unshakable. 4. Peace begins where control ends. Let me ask you something. How many hours have you spent this week worrying about things you can't control? The economy, someone's opinion of you, what they said or didn't say, the past, the future. It's like trying to steer a ship in a storm by yelling at the waves. Epictetus said, "Make the best use of what is in your power, and take the rest as it happens." Sounds simple, but most of our suffering comes from ignoring that line. We try to fix people who don't want help. We carry outcomes we were never meant to hold, and all the while, we wonder why we feel powerless. Here's the Stoic truth. You are not responsible for everything. You are only responsible for what is yours, your thoughts, your actions, your attitude, your effort. Draw the line. Right here, between what's yours and what's not. You don't control the storm, but you can grip the wheel. You don't control the comment they made, but you control the meaning. You give it. You don't control the outcome, but you do control how you show up today. That's not weakness. That's freedom. Try this. When you feel overwhelmed, ask one question. Is this within my control? If the answer is yes, act with clarity, with strength. If the answer is no, release with grace, not guilt. Because peace isn't found in fixing everything. It's found in focusing on the only thing you were ever meant to master, yourself. I focus on what I can control. The rest is not mine to carry. 5. What you avoid today will break you tomorrow. Let's be honest. You say you want to be stronger, more disciplined, more grounded. But are you actually training for that life? Or are you just hoping things get easier? Seneca once asked. Is this the condition I feared? Not as a rhetorical question, but as a challenge. Because he knew, the more you avoid discomfort, the more fragile you become. Most people only grow when life forces them to. They wait until the breakup, the failure, the diagnosis, to finally wake up. But the Stoic doesn't wait. The Stoic chooses hardship on purpose. Seneca would sleep on the floor, wear rough clothes, and eat plain food, not because he was poor, but because he knew that luxury makes you soft, and comfort makes you forget what truly matters. It's not about punishing yourself. It's about reminding yourself, I can endure. I am not dependent. I am not afraid. Every time you fast, wake up early. Say no to impulse. You're not depriving yourself. You're declaring war on your weakness. You're rehearsing for the storm before it comes. So when it does come, you don't flinch, because you've already walked through fire voluntarily. Here's a practice. Skip a meal and sit with the hunger. Take the cold shower and breathe through it. Turn off your phone for a day and meet the discomfort head-on. It's not about suffering. It's about strengthening. I don't wait for hardship. I train for it. So when life hits hard, he hit harder. 6. Let go of the outcome that's not where your worth lies. Have you ever poured your heart into something? A project, a relationship, a dream, and then watched it fall flat? No recognition, no reward, just silence. And suddenly, you question everything. Was it even worth it? Did I waste my time? Am I even good enough? Marcus Aurelius warned us long ago, never let the future disturb you. You will meet it with the same weapons of reason which today arm you against the present. You see, the Stoics understood something we often forget. Results are unstable. They're delayed, distorted. Sometimes they never show up at all. But the process, that's yours. Every decision, every repetition, every early morning or quiet night spent becoming better. No one can take that from you. The world may never clap. Your effort may go unseen. But you will know. You will remember that you showed up with everything you had, not for approval, but for integrity. The Stoic doesn't train to be admired. They train to be disciplined. They create not to impress, but to sharpen their soul. So ask yourself, would I still do this if no one ever applauded? Would I still show up if no one ever noticed? If the answer is yes, you've already won. Because now, you're free. Free from chasing likes. Free from fearing silence. Free from measuring your life by outcomes you can't control. And in that freedom, you begin to do your best work. My value lies in my discipline, not in results. I don't chase outcomes. I become the kind of person who shows up regardless. 7. You're not dying someday, you're dying now. There's a lie we all quietly believe. I have more time to fix the relationship, to chase the dream, to say what needs to be said. So we scroll, we delay, we numb, and the life we want stays in the distance because we think tomorrow will give us another chance. But Marcus Aurelius said, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think. It's not meant to scare you. It's meant to wake you up. You see, you're not promised a later, you're not promised another year, another month, not even another sunrise. And once you realize that once you truly let that truth pierce through your denial, everything changes. The small things lose their grip. That argument you keep replaying in your head suddenly feels less important. That fear of embarrassment, not so terrifying. Because how long are you planning to wait before you actually live? This is what the Stoics called memento mori. Remember you must die. Not to make you anxious, but to give you clarity. If this were your last day on earth, what would you say? Who would you forgive? What would you stop tolerating? Don't wait until life shakes you awake. Shake yourself. Not tomorrow. Now. I live as if time is borrowed because it is, and I will not waste the gift I've been given. Not one more minute. 8. Stop performing street art becoming. Let's be real. Most of us spend our lives trying to be seen, to be liked, to be approved of. We measure ourselves by likes, compliments, attention. We bend who we are just enough to fit the mold, to keep the peace, to avoid judgment. But here's the problem with living for applause. It turns you into a mirror constantly shifting, reflecting what others want to see. Marcus Aurelius said it clearly, just that you do the right thing, the rest doesn't matter. That's not cold, that's liberating. Because when you live for virtue, you become a mountain, still, grounded, unmoved. You do what's right, not because someone's watching, but because you're watching. You speak the truth, not because it's popular, but because your soul can't afford to be silent anymore. You hold your word. You act with honor. You resist shortcuts, not because it earns you anything, but because it defines everything. You see, virtue isn't flashy. It's quiet. It's the way you show up when the cameras are off, when no one is clapping, when doing the right thing costs you something. But that's where your power lives. Because popularity fades, approval is fleeting, but integrity, it echoes. It leaves a mark no one can erase. So ask yourself, if no one ever noticed, would I still do what's right? If yes, you're already becoming someone the world can't ignore. I live for truth, not for applause. Even if no one claps, my soul will. 9. Build the kind of strength no one can see but everyone can feel. We live in a world obsessed with appearances. Image is currency. Everyone's performing, smiling for the camera, polishing their words, hiding their cracks beneath filters, titles, and curated perfection. And yet we're emptier than ever. You can look wise and still be ruled by fear. You can appear confident and still crumble behind closed doors. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." The Stoics didn't chase aesthetics. They chased authenticity. They didn't polish the surface. They poured everything into the core. Because here's the truth. Image fades, but character that echoes. So stop asking, how do I appear strong? And start asking, how do I become strong? You build strength in the quiet, when no one is looking. When showing up doesn't earn you applause, only self-respect. It looks like this. You arrive early, even if no one sees. You say I was wrong, even when silence would be easier. You stay calm when attacked, not because you're trying to impress, but because rage isn't worthy of you anymore. That's not weakness. That's inner command. The world teaches you to decorate the shell. The Stoic teaches you to fortify the soul. Because when you build your life on truth, no humiliation, no insult, no failure can shake you. I build who I am, not how I look. My strength begins within and radiates without needing to be seen. 10. Your words are power street op, wasting them. The world is loud. Opinions shouted into microphones. Arguments shared like entertainment. Comment sections filled with rage. Noise and ego. Somewhere along the way, we began to confuse volume with value and silence. We started mistaking that for weakness. But the Stoic knows better. Zeno of Citium once said, "Better to trip with the feet than with the tongue, because your words are power, and real power is never reckless." Epictetus reminded us, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, to listen twice as much as we speak, to observe before we reply, to respond, not react. The fool talks to be heard. The Stoic waits to speak until it actually matters. Every careless word drains your presence, but every moment of quiet that builds gravity. You want to practice control. Don't just fast from food, fast from unnecessary speech. Try this. Pause 3 seconds before you respond to a trigger. Replace filler words with intentional silence. And when you do speak, make it useful, true, and necessary. Because when you speak less, you say more. Your presence grows heavier, and your character speaks before your mouth ever opens. You don't need to shout your truth. You just need to live it. I speak with clarity, or not at all. My silence has strength, and I only raise my voice when it lifts the world. You've just walked through 10 brutal Stoic truths. Not motivational fluff, not Instagram quotes, but hard-earned principles forged in the fire of suffering, silence, and self-mastery. And maybe, as you listened, something inside you stirred. Not a quick spark, but a quiet knowing that your soul has been waiting for this. But here's what matters most now. Don't let these words stay on the screen. Let them bleed into your life. These rules, they're not something to admire. They're something to become. Every time you pause instead of react. Every time you choose pain over comfort. Discipline over ease. Truth over applause. You lay another brick. A brick on the road to becoming unshakable. Not cold, not perfect, but anchored. You don't have to fix everything today. You don't have to become stoic overnight. You just have to choose one thing, one moment, one hard but honest decision, again and again, until one day you look back and realize you're no longer shaken by what used to break you. So if this message awakened something in you, don't scroll past it. Don't forget it. Sit with it. Reflect. Reread. And when you're ready, whisper to yourself, I choose strength. I choose truth. I choose to become, because that's where it all begins. Welcome to the Stoic Habit, where we don't just talk about change, we train for it.